Veronica Dan Ikboy. And as usual, I'm not here alone. I have Kemi Foladeyemo joining me. Kemi, good morning.
Good morning, Veronica.
Good to see you
good
again.
To see you. Looking good.
And you too. I hope you had a restful night.
That question, don't let me answer, please.
Anyway, we have an array of issues to look at this morning. The suspended strike by organized labor after an agreement with government was reached yesterday. And then we'll also look at the president's speech. This time around, we're focusing on agriculture and the environment. And then again, a topical issue that has been making headlines online, social media, everywhere. It's also the matter of Chicago State University finally releasing the academic records of President Bola Tinubu to the PDP presidential candidate in person of Atiku Abubakar, who made demands of it. And that is where we will begin this morning. The Chicago State University has finally released the academic records of President Bola Tinubu. The district court in northern Illinois had, in its judgment delivered on Saturday, given the university up till 12 noon on Monday to deliver the documents to Atiku, which the university has now complied with. Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the opposition People's Democratic Party in Nigeria's February the 25th election, had requested the documents to back his allegation of forgery of Chicago State University certificate against President Bola Tinubu. Now, Mr. Abubakar is trying to prove that President Tinubu was not qualified to run for the election, which he won. On Monday, the university presented to Atiku's legal team a cache of documents connected to Mr. Tinubu's education at the institution and copies of certificates with redacted names issued to other persons about the same time the Nigerian president finished from the school in 1979. It also contained Mr. Tinubu's admission records and a letter dated the 27th of June 2022, confirming that he attended the university from August 1977 and June 1979, majoring in accounting. But will this put to rest all those in doubt of the president's educational background? That's the big question. And it must be said that the document also tallies with that was presented to INEC by the president. It was part of the documents presented to INEC by the president. It's as it's been recorded, that it's the same. It matched the certificate that the president presented. But then reactions have been, divergent with regards to this development. One of which is the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace. He reacted and is asking, Festus Giamo, is asking Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the PDP, to apologize to the president for this humiliation, as he calls it, apologize to the president and Nigerians. Kemi.
Right. There's been so much controversy over the whereabouts of the academic qualifications or the academic certificate of President Tinubu. Over the weekend, we saw how, much of an issue it was. It has actually, been an issue long before now. Here in Nigeria, we've gone past the stage of the initial election petition court, which deliberated on these and other issues presented by the PDP's candidate and, of course, another opposition party, that is Peter Obi of the Labour Party. And now that is before the Supreme Court, and as we have been listening to several legal experts on the matter, how far Atiku Abubakar wants to go in this bid of his now remains to be seen, because according to lawyers, there may not be much that the Supreme Court can do, even if the CSU, that's the Chicago State University, had presented another information, because bringing in new evidence, at this stage is rather late. And But from what we have seen,
Oh, because it's the pre-election matter?
Well, because the Supreme Court's work is cut out. It's just to weigh the evidence that has already been presented at the lower court.
Yes.
So there is really nothing much. It's not going to be like a fresh hearing where witnesses will come and testify again. As we all know, this period, this election tribunal period, this electioneering period regarding elections are time bound, and between now and November, the Supreme Court should be ready with its verdict. So there is nothing much, even though hearings haven't started, so to speak. But there's really nothing much the apex courts can do regarding accepting new evidence. It's going to be very, very unprecedented if that happens in this case.
In this case, yeah.
For the CSU now, after all said and done, because Atiku's side was saying, why was the president objecting at every interval to his request to examine the document academic? But the points the Tinubu side was making was because it is of no issue. There is no reason for you to request for this, because we all know it is in a bid to challenge my legitimacy as president. And where do you want to take it to, even if it is not so? And now we have been vindicated, so to speak, as the university in question has now adjudged and confirmed that he indeed finished from their university in 1979 and has presented a copy, so to speak, of the certificate, but says he cannot issue another certificate because it's not within its powers to do so. So for a Festus Keyamo to be talking about an apology, well, one would understand their position, because this is a very controversial issue, and we hope that this is rested. Of course, people will still be watching.
It's not rested. Unfortunately, it's not looking like it's rested as it is. Well, there's been so much controversy. I was just looking through some comments and reactions coming out of this updates coming out from Chicago State University, and I've been seeing some persons still insisting that they want to see original documents. This is not proof enough. There are those still saying that perhaps there were negotiations behind closed doors, and we understand how things could be, this, that, and so many conversations around it. Yes, we know that certain persons will not be pacified or satisfied with this statement coming out of CSU, but whatever it is, the Chicago State University has been able to prove that the president actually was a student there between the period that it said he was, and the documents actually match those that was presented before INEC. So how far they want to go still trying to prove this case, especially for those who are not satisfied, who are not yet convinced, is left to be seen. But then I believe that this will allow or enable the president to focus more on governance as it is right now, with this sorted, so to speak, on his part. I believe that there will be no longer distractions coming from the matter of your documentation, academic records, and all of that will no longer serve as a distraction as it is right now. We can only hope.
We wait to see what next, because governance is key, and many Nigerians are also on the view that can we just move on? As in, even the court process itself is somehow distractionary, so to speak, because of course, you have to be a superhuman, as president, not to have that weighing on your mind as you govern a nation as large and
diverse as ours,
and diverse as Nigeria. You have to be superhuman, and there is a need for us for the presidency, or for the president to face his mandate now. But of course, this is a legal process, that one just has to sit out. It was a controversial election, and naturally, so many people will be divided on the issue. But we just hope that the Supreme Court will come, end all of this once and for all, and he can focus on what really matters.